my body pet.
Lying down because I have a headache today. Hello everyone, your friendly neighborhood vampire witch magic here. Let's get back into Magium. We are on chapter 4, and let's try not to kill Barry today because, well, we probably really should try keeping him alive. Although I am trying, it's just not very good. I'd probably die in this universe. Okay, so alright, so Darren was waiting for us in front of our cave. The moment we got in hearing range of him, he started to rant about how we shouldn't have gone off on our own and about how we should stick together at all times. Kate simply waved him off and went inside our cave to get a bit more sleep. After telling him that this morning's events had tired her out. When Darren asked me what she meant, I told them all about the Duke of Baggleberry and his merry men and how they ambushed us. You were lucky that you managed to get out of there alive, Darren said to me. Why did we even bother to have a strategy meeting yesterday if we were all going to ignore it afterwards anyway? After he's cooled off a bit, the two of us resumed our guard duty, posting ourselves in front of the cave's entrance. As we stand guard, we start discussing about the tournament and its organization as we've seen it thus far. I just can't understand it, Darren tells me. What are the organizers thinking? They're letting people without any trace of magic join this contest, and they don't even bother to enforce a rule that prohibits fighting before they announce the objectives. It's like they don't even care about all the lives that are at stake. I don't think they do, I tell Darren. Do you remember what they made us agree to before joining the tournament? Whoever wins this championship will be obligated to come to Varathia's aid in case of an outside invasion? People only agreed to it because there hasn't been an attempt at invading Varathia in thousands of years, but I don't think that's the point. They just want the most powerful mage in the world to serve as their own personal scarecrow. They probably only care about whoever's going to win. But even so, if their goal is to get their hands on a powerful mage, why have they still not announced the objectives? Wouldn't it be their best interest to get the tournament finished as quickly as possible? Maybe there are no objectives. Maybe this really is a life and death tournament and they're just waiting to see who will be the last man standing. By the gods, Barry, don't even joke about something like that. If that were true, then this tournament would turn into one of the biggest bloodbaths of the century. I refuse to believe that the rulers of one of the greatest civilizations in our world would turn to such barbarity. Before we continue our conversation, we sense someone approaching our location. Kate's barrier spell must have worn off. Keep your guard up, Barry.
Oh, no.
As this person approaches, we can sense his magical aura more clearly. His magical aura is just as weak as that of the crossbowmen from before. Is this a survivor from our last battle looking to avenge his fallen comrades?
Okay.
When he gets within visual range of us, we discover that he is rather young for a warrior, and he isn't wearing any protective gear. He seems to be somewhere in his late teens, but no older than 20. And he's wearing loose pants and a loose tunic, not much different from clothes one would normally change into before going to bed. The fact that he's walking with his eyes closed and his hands in his pockets is not really helping his case either. He looks like he just got out of bed to get a midnight snack and definitely not like participate in a life and death tournament. However, he can't be one of the locals either, since we would have been immediately notified to not harm him. Good morrow, lad, Darren shouts after the boy. Lovely day for a walk, isn't it? What business would you have with us? If you are lost, we'd be more than happy to give you directions. With Darren, it's hard to tell when he's being sarcastic or sincere, since there are no hints in his look or tone or voice. And as I've known him so far, he'd be capable of either of those things in this situation. Our young visitor doesn't seem to have taken offense at Darren's remark, and smiles politely with his eyes still closed. There's no need, the boy answers. I was looking for some old friends of mine when I sensed there was a fellow Stillwater nearby, so I just had to stop by and say hello. There's so few of us nowadays that it would be a shame to not at least greet each other in passing. My name is Eden, or Iden? Aiden, maybe? I don't know. Eden, pleased to meet you. My whole body freezes for a second. In actual still water here? No. No. I should calm down. It's likely just some other guy who came up with the same idea as me. I refuse to fall for my own trick. Seeing that I don't say anything, Darren replies in my stead, "Don't mind him. Barry's a little shy. I'm sure he's also pleased to make your acquaintance. My name's Darren." "Oh, then you must be the healer in armor I've been hearing so much about, and it seems that you also have a third member in your party, a survivor of the Beacon of Hope, no less. I did not know any of them were still alive." "What's the Beacon of Hope? You mean she didn't tell you? Well, then I won't spoil the surprise. Why don't you ask her yourself when she wakes up, my Stillwater friend?" "I'm going to stop you right there, Eden," Darren interrupts. "I don't think it's necessary to carry on with this charade anymore. You and I both know that Barry is an ordinary human and not a Stillwater." "What? You told them the truth?" Eden asks me. "I honestly did not think you managed to make it this far without bluffing. I must admit I'm impressed." "This Stillwater bluff isn't going to get you very far, you know," Darren continues, "especially since you're blind. Who ever heard of a blind Stillwater?" What makes you think I'm blind?" "You've been keeping your eyes closed ever since we first saw you." "Oh, this? I can actually see just fine. I first closed my eyes long ago when I got tired of seeing the ugliness of humanity. I mostly only open my eyes in completely unpopulated areas nowadays. My magical sense is more than adequate replacement for my eyesight. I can feel every creature's and every object's magical aura, which tells me where they are, and I get the added benefit of not falling prey to illusion spells. I don't need an extra sense to constantly remind me of why I despise humans so much. Aren't you a little young to be worrying about humanity's sins, or is this some kind of phase you're going through in order to get your parents to notice you?"
And boom.
Eden smiles. "You of all people should know better, healer in armor. Surely you must have seen all the world's suffering and injustice throughout your travels. The anguish, the agony, you've seen them all over and over. Tell me, healer, you spent a lifetime trying to right the wrongs others have made. Do you feel like the world has become a better place because of it?" "Just because there's a lot of evil left in the world doesn't mean there's no good worth fighting for. As long as I don't give up, I will find a way." Eden's smile widens, but his eyes remain closed. "Oh, so you're an idealist then. But tell me, hero, what happens when your pure ideals crash with the cold, hard truth of reality?" Suddenly, Darren falls flat on his chest, and I can tell he's being pressed against the ground by a very powerful force. "What happens when you meet a force so great that it simply squashes you against the ground, as if you were an insect?" The force pushes Darren against the ground, intensified so much that it made a large Darren-shaped hole in the hard rock soil beneath him. He could no longer hold back the pain and started screaming in agony. I realize my hands have gone cold and my whole body is shaking. I need to pull myself back together. If I screw this up, we'll all get slaughtered.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Okay.
"Let him go," I tell Eden, trying to sound as confident as possible. "You want to save your friend, Barry? Then how about we make an even trade? Your life for his. I promise I'll leave your friend alone if you give your life for him. What do you say?" I thought we were keeping Barry alive this time. Maybe not.
But Betty's no person. Betty Pardon.
I know Barry's a person, but I don't...
He doesn't have the free will.
A cold shiver passes through my whole body as the Stillwater's words reach my ears. "This isn't a nightmare, Barry. What's happening? This is really happening. What the hell was I thinking? That I'd just join a tournament against the most powerful mages in the world and things would simply work out by themselves? Look at what I've done. I managed to not only endanger myself, but also a man that has done nothing but good in his entire life. A much better man than I will ever be. And I'm the reason the Stillwater came to us. This is all my fault. But maybe I can make it right." What guarantee do I have that you won't simply kill him after you're done with me? I asked Eden. Why, the fact that you're still alive, of course. Surely you must have realized by now that it would take me no more than a snap of my fingers to end both of your lives. Why would I even bother to give you this option if I weren't sincere? I don't trust him. I don't trust him at all. But what choice do I have? Darren is nearing his limits, and if I fight him one-on-one, he'll disintegrate me. Not even Kate would stand a chance against him, and besides, I've already made up my mind. Then I accept your trade. My life for Darren's. Eden smiles. Your life for Darren's. I feel like my very soul is leaving my body. I'm quickly losing control of all my muscles, and my body falls to the ground. Everything is getting colder, but I feel no pain, only emptiness. It is done, the Stillwater says as he teleports out of our camp. Barry, no! Darren screams from the top of his lungs as he rushes towards me. I did it. He's still alive. The last thing I see is Darren's desperate expression as he tries in vain to resuscitate me. Well, I think that's as far as I'm going to make it, because no matter which way you look at it, I can't allow Darren to die.
No, I don't want it to die.
But I do think that maybe we could try the other option and see if it ends differently. But if it doesn't, I'm just going to say that this is where this ends. Okay, so we'll try the other option where we propose a different trade. How about another trade? What do you have in mind? When we first met, you said you were looking for some friends. If you let us live, we could deliver a message for you in case we find these friends of yours before you do.
Okay.
So you're saying your friend's life is only worth delivering a message? It is to you. I think you've already made it abundantly clear that human life holds no value to you. That means it should be all the same to you if you let us live or not. But if you let us live, you will get your message delivered. How's that for an even trade? Eden laughs and the force pushing Darren against the ground gets weaker. When you put it like that, I suppose you have a point. Very well then, your lives for a message. He stops for a bit to think before he continues. The friends I'm looking for always wear dark blue robes, and on their chests they should have brooches that picture a hawk holding the sun in its talons. If you're to meet any people that fit this description, just tell them Eden sends them this message. Remember, the still winter. And if they ask me what that means, they won't, no matter who you meet, as long as they fit the description I gave you. They'll understand the message perfectly. Okay then, consider it done. Perfect. Eden releases Darren from his spell and turns to leave. I won't let you leave this place, Darren says as he slowly gets back up. Surely you must be kidding, Eden tells him. If I let you go now, you only hurt more innocent people. I'll stop you no matter the cost. See, now that puts me in a difficult position. Since I already made an even trade with Barry over there, I can't just kill you now, since it would violate the terms of our trade agreement. Silence! Darren rushes towards the still water and slashes fiercely towards his neck. Eden dodges effortlessly, and Darren quickly goes for a second strike. This time meant to cut him in half. Eden steps casually to the side, making it look like child's play. After a few more wasted strikes on Darren's part, just when it looked as though he might have caught the Stillwater on the wrong foot, Eden simply put his bare hand in front of his face and stopped the full blow of the sword with only his index finger. No! Darren says as if he couldn't believe his eyes. I tire of this, says Eden as he makes a gesture with his other hand. In less than a second, Darren dropped to the ground like a log, his armor making a loud clank as it hits the rocky soil below. No! I shout. I only put him to sleep, the Stillwater says. He'll wake up in a few minutes. He turns to leave. Oh, and don't worry about looking for my friends. I'm sure you'll be meeting them soon enough. He smiles again and then he heads towards the woods. Okay, well that ended better.
Okay.
Darren, can you hear me? Wake up. There's no answer. Just what kind of spell did this guy use? I'm pretty sure that Darren has some really strong spells protecting him at all times. Standard sleep spells should be no more than a moderate inconvenience for him. While I try to wake Darren up, I suddenly hear a very familiar voice coming from the direction in which Eden disappeared. Stillwater! That's Cutthroat Dave's voice. No doubt about it. I recognize that hoarse voice and that thuggish accent anywhere. I turn around toward where the voice came from, but there's only trees. Why would Cutthroat Dave shout for me before even getting the chance to get a clear shot on my face? Then it hit me. He never got to see my face. I was hiding behind a tree the whole time. I rushed towards the woods to confirm my suspicions. I hide behind one of the trees and take a peek. Just as I thought, Cutthroat Dave has mistaken Eden for me, and he's looking for revenge. He's managed to assemble a team in a short time we are apart, and they all have the Stillwater surrounded. Oh no. The sad part is that Dave looks like a well-bred gentleman compared to his new colleagues. Some of them look and smell like they haven't washed for months. I guess birds of a feather really do flock together. I've been looking for you, Stillwater, Dave says. I've been tracking your footsteps since yesterday. I told you we'd meet again. No one can run or hide from Cutthroat Dave. I'm afraid you are mistaken, my good man, says Eden, smiling. I'm quite sure I've never seen you before in my life. I'm sure of that too. You'd have needed to open your eyes in order to see me. All of Cutthroat Dave's men suddenly burst into laughter at the same time. They're laughing loudly and vulgarly, probably an attempt to intimidate their victim, just like a group of school bullies. Eden's expression does not change, and he continues to smile pleasantly. Don't think you can fool me by changing your voice a little. I'm too smart for that. I'd recognize that arrogant tone of yours anywhere. Where's your healer friend? Did he leave you here to rot after you saved his skin? Are you perhaps speaking of the healer in armor? If that's the case, then he's right there past these trees. Huh. Nice try, Stillwater. That intimidating trick of yours ain't gonna work on me twice in a row. He turns towards his esteemed colleagues. Declan. Men, ready your swords. Pull out your knives. This is what we came here for. Today we write our names in history. Today we become legends. Cutthroat Dave's men all give out a roar as they raise their hands holding their weapons in the air. Eden's smile has widened. His expression is similar to what it was before he smashed Darren into the ground. He's enjoying this. They're going to get massacred.
I'm gonna try and play Cult of the Lamb.
He's probably not going to help us, so... There's no reason for me to pity the likes of Cutthroat Dave. If I save his neck here, he's most definitely going to attack me next. And if I defeat him and then leave him alive, he'll just go on a rampage and kill innocent people. A few more dead thugs in the world don't make any difference. I very much doubt that anyone's going to mourn their passing. I decide not to intervene and let the battle run its course. Cutthroat Dave initiates by sending a few flying knives towards the Stillwater. Just as they reach Eden, they all stop in midair in front of him. Eden smirks and he points towards the Cutthroat. All the knights unconditionally obey their new master and head toward Dave at breathtaking speed. He manages to parry them in the nick of time with his own flying knives, but he looks dumbstruck. What kind of sorcery is this? He says. The magic kind, of course, the Stillwater answers him. See, this is a tournament for mages. Circus auditions are being held across the street. Dave's face contorts into a snarl. We'll see how funny you are with some holes in your skull, you cheeky bastard. Men, teach this little upstart a lesson. All of Cutthroat Dave's men jump at Eden, but he disappears right from under their nose and appears in front of Dave with a grin on his face, though his eyes remain shut. Sending your men to do your dirty work, Dave? I thought you were going to become a legend. Why are you hesitating? Okay. Dave pulls out a knife from his belt and slashes for Eden's neck. Shut your smart arse mouth and die, you little shit. Before the thug got to finish his sentence, Eden puts his palm on Dave's face and made his head explode in 1,000 pieces. Cutthroat Dave's life has ended just like that, without even having the time to realize he was dead. Blinded by rage, Dave's loyal followers rushed screaming towards Eden with their weapons at the ready. They didn't get too far, though. With a snap of his fingers, the Stillwater made a huge pillar of fire appear in front of him, which incinerated all the thugs to a point where not even their bones were left intact. The fire completely ignored all the trees around it, and Eden simply put it out with another snap of his fingers. I expected this to be quick, but this outcome far exceeded my expectations. He can even cast fire magic. What in the hell are we supposed to do to fight this guy? Eden turns towards me. I suddenly remember that he relies primarily on his magical scent and not on his eyesight in order to assess his surroundings. He must have sensed my presence ever since before the beginning of the battle. Did you enjoy the show, Barry? He asks me. His smile is gone from his face. It was quite the spectacle, I reply to him. That it was. It would appear that Cutthroat has mistaken me for another Stillwater, one who was associating with a healer. Quite an unfortunate misunderstanding. You wouldn't happen to know who they were looking for, would you, Barry? I think you already have the answer to that question. I do indeed. Tell me, Barry, how did you come to the conclusion that using me to clean up your mess would be a good idea? Well, I figured you wouldn't have any trouble dealing with those lowly thugs, and you seem to enjoy it well enough. Otherwise, you would have simply cut down the tree I was hiding behind in order to reveal me to the cutthroats. Fascinating. You really appear to have no sense of crisis. Allow me to help you in that regard. As he finishes his sentence, I start feeling something pressing against my throat. It feels like an invisible rope is tied around my neck and is slowly lifting me above the ground. It's not just my imagination. I really am being lifted higher and higher above the ground. It's getting a lot harder to breathe as the invisible noose gets tied around my neck. I try to take the noose off with my hands, but there's nothing there. If this goes much longer, I'm seriously going to die. Once I get several feet above the ground, the invisible noose suddenly disappears and I fall on the rocky soil, dropping to my knees. I could hear a loud crack as I hit the ground. I'm pretty sure that the fall broke both my kneecaps. The pain of it is excruciating. Now that I have your attention, the Stillwater continues, I want you to understand something. If you try something like that again, broken kneecaps are going to be the least of your worries. Are we clear? Crystal? Eden's smile comes back to his face. That's what I like about you, Barry. Even in the face of utter annihilation, you manage to maintain your defiant, sarcastic tone. But you are neither strong nor brave. But what is it then? What is the driving force that propels you forward? Stupidity. Well said, Eden says, smiling. I think your healer should have woken up from his slumber by now. Go ahead and call him. I'm sure he's fixed more than a few broken kneecaps in his lifetime. I'll be waiting for you to deliver my message. Do not fail me, Barry. With these last words, he turns his back to me and heads deeper into the woods. Well, isn't he a cheery fellow? Well, I don't like that guy. But Barry survived. Well, we only killed him once. But he survived, technically, I guess, again. Yeah, we're not doing too great with Barry. I think this would be the 4th time I've killed him in 4 chapters, maybe 5 times. Yeah.
What? Why you home?
So, pray. We'll get back to this later. Bye.